Good morning, good morning, good morning. And this is today's tale of Ancient Irish Tales called The Debility of the Ulstermen. Today's tale is The Debility of the Ulstermen. The Debility of the Ulstermen was composed ostensibly to explain the fact that when Queen Mav and her allies sought to invade Ulster, all the warriors, well, except for Cuchulainn, were unable to fight. There's also accounts of the origin of the name of Emain Macha. By one of those fanciful etymologies common in the Disunichads, essentially it is typical of a large class of early Irish tales which deal with the love between mortals and fairy beings. Ooh, let us find out what's going to happen today. There lived in the heights and the solitudes of the hills a rich cow lord of the Ulstermen, Count Mac by name. In his solitude great wealth accompanied him. He had 4 sons around him. His wife, the mother of his children, died. For a long time he lived without a wife, and he was one day alone on the couch in his house. He saw coming into the mansion a young, stately woman, distinguished in her appearance, clothing, and demeanor. Macha was the woman's name, one of the forms of the Vorgul. As scholars say, she sat herself on the chair near the hearth and stirred the fire. She passed the whole day there, without exchanging a word with anyone. She fetched a kneading though, and a strive began to prepare food. As the day drew to an end, she took a vessel and milked the cow, still without speaking. When she returned to the house, she turned right about and went into the kitchen and gave directions to his servants. Then she took a seat next to Cuchulainn. Each one went to his couch. She remained to the last and put out the fire, turned right about again and laid herself down beside him, laying her hand on his side. For a long time they dwelt together. Through this union with her, he increased more in wealth. His handsome appearance was delightful to her. Now, the Ulstermen frequently held great assemblies and meetings. As many as could go, both men and women, went to the gathering. I, too, said Cuchulainn, will go like everyone else to the assembly. Go not, said his wife, lest thou run into danger by speaking of us, and our union will come only if thou dost not speak to me of me in the assembly. I will utter a word, said Cuchulainn. The Ulstermen gathered at the festival, and Cuchulainn also going with the rest. It was a brilliant festival, not alone in regard to the people, but as to the houses and costumes also. There took place races and combats, tournaments, games, and processions. At the 9th hour, the royal chariot was brought upon the ground, and the king's horses carried the day in the contests. Then bards appeared to praise the king and queen, the poets and the druids of his household, the people and whole assemblies. The people cried, "Never before have 2 such horses been seen at the festival as those 2 horses of the king. In all Ireland there is not a swifter pair." "My wife runs quicker than these 2 horses," said Cuchulainn. "Seize the man," said the king, "and hold him until his wife can be brought to the race contest." He was made fast, and messengers welcomed and asked them what brought them here. "We have come for you that you may release your husband and kept prisoner by the king's command, because he boasted that you were swifter of foot than the king's horses." "My husband has spoken unwisely," she said. "It is not fitting that he should say so. As for me, I am ill and about to deliver a child." "Alas, for that," said the messengers, "for thy husband will be put to death if thou dost not come." "Then I must needs go," she said. Forthwith she went to the assembly, and everyone crowded around to see her. It's not becoming, she said, that I should be gazed at in this condition. Wherefore am I brought hither? To run in contest with the 2 horses of the king, shouted the multitude. Alas, for I am close upon my hour. Unsheath your swords, and hew yonder men to death. Help me, she cried the bystanders, for a mother hath bore each of you. Give me, O king, but a short delay until I am delivered. It shall not be so, replied the king. Then shame upon you, because you have shown so little respect for me, because you took no pity upon me, a heavier infirmity will fall upon you. What is thy name? Asked the king. My name, she said,
Motion detected at the beginning.
And the name of which I shall bear for the Evercleave Place Assembly, I am Macha, daughter of Shirlmek Ilbros, stranger son of the ocean. Bring up the horses beside me. It was done, and she outran the horses and arrived first at the end of the course. Then she went into a great cry of her pain. But the gods help her. She bore twins, a son and a daughter. Before the horses were reached the goal, therefore the place is called Emain Macha, the twins of Macha. All who heard that cried suddenly and seized with wickedness, so that they had no more strength than the woman in her pain. And she said, from this hour, the ignominy that you have inflicted upon me will rebound to shame of each of you. When a time of oppression falls upon you, each of you who dwells in this province will become with weakness, and as weakness of a woman in childbirth. And this will remain upon you for 5 days and 4 nights. To the 9th generation it shall be so. It was thus. It continued from the days of Kefra to the days of Fergus MacDonald, till the time of Frorach son of Dallin, till Mac son of Log. 3 classes there were upon whom Debility had no power, namely the children and women of Ulster and Cuchulainn. Because he was not descended from Ulster, none also who were outside the province were afflicted by it. And this is the cause of Noman Umdr, the debility of the Ulstermen.